Yeah, I just woke up. It's gonna sound groggy and tired and all that stuff, and I'm sick too because I went for like walks by the river for the past 2 days, like 3 hour fucking walks. And of course I was touching shit, and then I fucking probably stuck my hands in my mouth because I'm an immature little bitch. Anyway, um, one thing that I was thinking about last night before I went to sleep is like I don't understand why people say life is hard. Because life, as far as I can tell, is easy. All you have to do is exist, and to exist, all you have to do is breathe. And breathing comes naturally, therefore living is natural, easy. I think what they mean is like people are difficult, like without different interactions with people and clashing opinions and personalities. That's hard. That's what makes life so much more difficult. Because I don't think the Neanderthals back in the day had much of a problem with getting fired by their boss and then being in a depression for the next 3 months. I mean, I don't claim to know anything. It's just I don't think that would happen. And like existing fucking computer, why does it just go off like that? My fan just sometimes works 5 times harder, and it's a lot of background noise in my videos, and I don't like it. But anyway, um, existing is easy because we don't know how to not exist. Uh, of course, we know how to kill ourselves, but we don't know how to like just stop existing suddenly. We don't know how to do that. So in that respect, humans, as humans do, just stick with what they know. Back when I was really little, I had all these questions about existence and life and stuff, and I always described myself as a Christian back in the day, so one of my biggest questions revolved around Adam and Eve. I always asked my grandparents, and I always asked like just my family. My family's kind of like this kind of finger in ear, la 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 la, can't hear you kind of Christian, where it's like if I ask any question, they'll be like, oh, just because. But anyway, one of my biggest questions was like, if we all came from two people, then doesn't that mean that we're all brother and sister in some way? Because like, and I always brought up that question when people are talking about like, oh, I'm part Native American, part Scottish, part English, part German. It's like I always brought that up. Like, if we all came off two people, weren't those two people mixes of everything to create all the different races and ethnicities that are around the world? Then wouldn't that mean that you're part everything, as is everyone? That's something I never understood. Like, even though the Christians believe that we all came off two people, they still believe in segregation. They still believe in, just separating people. No, we're not all part one. We're not all brother and sister. We're all different races, different creeds. We all lived in different countries at one time. All of our ancestors are completely different. Even though they're the ones who believe that we all came from two people. Doesn't make any sense to me. I have so many religious-based stories of when I was a kid that I could just go on and on about for like the next hour. One that I think really only is the only one that needs to be brought up is especially one where in regards to Jesus. I always thought as a kid Jesus was a name. I never thought it was like a deity or everything that we were supposed to worship. I always thought it was a name, and as a name, I always made up little nicknames for it. So I always called him Cheesus, like he was a piece of cheese. And that's the first thing that I thought of whenever I thought of Jesus as a kid. I always thought of this big block of cheese with a big happy smile on him and going, "Ayy," like he was a cartoon character. So whenever I told that to my family, and it was like at church one day, I think they made me go to church this one time. An activity for the kids was like draw Jesus, and I drew this big piece of cheese, this big block of cheese with holes in it, like Swiss cheese. I drew a big happy smile on him. I mean, what was I supposed to know? I was a kid. I just made fun of names, and the name was Jesus, therefore I called him Jesus. And my Sunday school teacher, I believe it was, looked at it, and I remember I gave it to her, and then I walked away, and I think I did something. I went like to go check on my sister or something, and then I came back, and then I was like, "Where's my picture?" And she was like, "Oh, I don't know." And then I saw it in the garbage later on. So, that just shows how tolerant people are of jokes, especially jokes of little kids. Like they can't even take like third grade humor in regards to their own religion. So yeah, that's one of the big reasons why I'm not a Christian anymore. I don't associate myself with them anymore. Now, to be fair, I used to go to this one church and only one church when I was really little. In fact, a lot of my family still goes to that one same church. And as a kid, I really liked it in there. but not for the reasons of like, oh, it's such a beautiful place and I like all the people there. No, I just like the big labyrinth feel of it because it was such a huge church, so many dark hallways and corridors and ramps and stairs. It was crazy. And like I was thinking, how would an atheist going to church work? Because I had this weird little theory that like all my family goes to church, and I kind of want to go there too again, just to see what it's all about. Because I haven't really been to like a service, and it's gotta be years by now. But like if I went to church and I actually just confessed, yeah, I'm actually an atheist going here. I just want to see what it's all about and stuff. Like if I went there and I like volunteered and I was like an atheist pastor of a church who doesn't believe all the stuff that he says but says it anyway, would that work? Because like I mean, he may not believe in any of the stuff that he's saying, but like if he doesn't know any other way to help people, like if he wants to get people off drugs and he's like, "Oh, well, you got to believe in God. You got to believe in Jesus." Would that work at all? Like if an atheist pastor just was a pastor to help people but didn't believe in any of the stuff that he was saying? I was thinking about doing that, but like just for fun, like just going to church and helping people and just volunteering and being like, oh, I don't believe in any of this shit. I'm just doing it to help you guys. Uh, that would kind of make me a bit more moral. I think like if I don't believe in any of the eternal damnation that I'll face if I don't do stuff like that. I just do it for the fun of it. And speaking of morality, why is that always like the number one topic that people bring up in regards to the anti-theist debate? Um, and the creationist evolutionist debate. It's like, well, where does your morality come from? It's like, well, we don't fucking know where morality comes from, but we can certainly tell you where it doesn't come from God. And that's like the number one thing that Richard Dawkins always says. And like, I really don't like Richard Dawkins. I mean, some of his speeches are good, but he's kind of boring to me. I don't know why. He just bores me when he's talking about stuff. He always, I guarantee you, every single debate that he's in, doesn't matter how overused the fucking thing is, it's always the flying spaghetti monster, the teapot in space, Zeus, Apollo, fucking Thor. He always brings that stuff up. And I mean, it's a good argument. It's a solid argument, but it's been used far too much. We gotta think of something new. Like, let's think of something that raises the same question, but in such a different way that it won't be so overused. Like the flying spaghetti monster, I'm so sick of that. I think I just thought of one. How about, you can't disprove God the same way you can't disprove the flying spaghetti monster, or in my case, the same way you can't disprove putting your balls on the electric fence won't sterilize you. What makes you say that, Slappa? Because until you put your balls on the electric fence, I have no reason to believe that the electric fence is so powerful that it can sterilize a person. That way it raises the same question, owns the motherfucker, and keeps the religion bug from spreading to future generations. Thank you and good night. You can thank me later, bitches.